In this edition of Art Loft, an artist reflects on a career and love affair with poetry and light.
This is all from my head. This is my life and what I experience.
Locust-inspired commentary on cultural identity.
There's a historical locust plague in South Africa in 1896, which had quite severe economic but also political implications.
An artist's private drama takes flight.
This is about my parents and my mother, who has been diagnosed with Alzheimer's.
It's all ahead on this edition of Art Loft.
Funding for Art Loft was made possible by the John S. and James L. Knight Foundation, Newman's Own, giving all profit to charity and pursuing the common good for over 30 years, and
in the Florida Keys and Key West, every night is a spectacular show. And every day is another masterpiece.
Hi, I'm Kaylin James, and from Locust Projects in Miami, welcome to Art Loft. Thanks so much for joining us. Tonight, artists transform ordinary objects into biographical sculptures that comment on culture, history, and personal drama. We begin with a short film on acclaimed British artist Tracey Emin, who captivates viewers with neon drawings. In her first North American solo exhibition, named Angel Without You, Emin showcases more than 60 works from the past 2 decades. Get ready for the glow.
People don't understand the complication of neon. When you look at neons that are really badly made, you can see the bends, you can see the folds, you can see the joins, which is really ugly. And that's just like a commercial pub sign. I don't make commercial pub signs. That's why my neons look so special. Hello, I'm Tracey Emin. I'm an artist. I'm from London. We're standing in Miami Mocha. This is my first solo exhibition in America, and it's called Angel Without You. It's my only show of all my neons, and it will probably never ever happen again in a lifetime. When you come in here and you see the 67 neons spanning over nearly 20 years, you can see there is a different quality and a different emotional tone of events throughout the whole room. It isn't all the same. This is all from my head. This is my life and what I experience. I grew up in Margate that had a golden mile that was full of neon and lights. You only have neon usually in bars, casinos, brothels, whatever, in places where you need to feel good. And that's because the argon, neon and argon gas, makes human beings feel good. And the electric signal is almost like a heartbeat or a pulse. And that's why you have it in places that want you to spend money, because they want you to feel good. So I'm not saying I want people to come to this show and spend money, they can't, but I want people to feel good. I knew that the people of Miami would just completely be open to the idea of a neon exhibition, whereas if I did it somewhere else, people might think, oh, it's just neons, she hasn't shown anything else. But as the people of Miami understand what neon's about and signage, I knew I was onto a winner. I never hang a show like what I call a noddy dog show, where people just see the work and go like that. I always like to have an emotional pull. So my idea was, as you came into the space, you'd be blocked out, and so you wouldn't understand how many neons were actually in here until you went around. And suddenly it just goes wham! Like, it's not even a corridor, it's like a concourse of light and different words and different things. Each time you have a different vista and you have a different emotion. one of my backbones to my work is writing. I've been making neons for nearly 20 years, and I've been using text and writing for 35 years. So I know what I'm doing with text. I know about the emotional pull. There was a period when I loved using all my words that were crossed out. There was another period where I liked to make them essentially like poems. Then I liked to have them very short, tough, single one-liners. You know, just to see how economical I could be. Edvard Munch's one of my favourite artists of all time, and the little room which has the Munch scream and the I know, I know, I know, and it's not so difficult to understand, was actually in a kind of response to something that was happening in my life. And the scream was about exactly how I was feeling. So that's how that room came about. But also it was very nice to give a homage to Edvard Munch in neon. I mean, Andy Warhol gave a homage to Edvard Munch in neon day-glow colours, then I've just literally done it in neon. I've been drawing birds for about 30 years, and when I was at school I studied ornithology. I like birds a lot. So I wanted to interpret one of my bird drawings, my favourite bird drawing, into neon, which was actually very complicated, but I think I got it, I did it. I was 30 when I had my first show. My major retrospective at J. Joplin at White Cube Gallery in 1993 was because at the time I probably didn't think I was ever going to have another show. So I thought I'd try and show everything and do everything and explain myself with one bang. So that was why it was called my major retrospective. My bed I made in 1998. It was a bed that I slept in for 3 or 4 days when I was feeling really, really not good and really unwell, kind of totally out of it. And when I got up, when I looked at the bed and all the diatrists and all the rubbish and everything around it, it looked quite disgusting. And then when I looked again, I actually thought it looked quite beautiful because this is the bed that had been keeping me alive, keeping me comfortable, making sure I was soft and protected. And in life, we do so much in bed, you know, whether it's giving birth, dying, sleeping, crying, dreaming. It's a place where we spend a lot of time. And so my bed was like an imprint of like my whole existence. And then when I actually took that out of the bedroom and then put it into the gallery space, it actually took on an incredibly strong, iconic look. It looked incredibly iconic, and it has become iconic. It's a seminal piece of art which is often quoted in art history now. Last year I was given the CBE by the Queen, and it's the Commander of the British Empire, and it's it means I have a title. It means I'm commander, as you would be like commander in the army or whatever. I have a beautiful gold medal and a bag, and it is a real mark of esteem in British society. It's carries a lot of responsibility as well, and usually you'd have to be it's very rare that a female artist would be given such an honour, and it's very, very high up in the pecking order. The next highest thing is like Sir or Dame, you know, so I don't think they could ever give me Dame because I'm too much of a wild, crazy person. That would be pushing it. When you're a woman of 50 and you look back in hindsight and you look at your life, you realise you're at this position now, at this spot, and you have to work out what has been most important to you, and my art and my work has been the total most important thing to me.
To learn more about Emin's unique visions, log on to TracyEminStudio.com. And for details on current exhibitions at the Museum of Contemporary Art, North Miami, visit mocanomi.org.
And they found that I was turning tricks into story, because to me the trapeze was like a mask. It was like a vehicle through which you could express something through.
South African artist Nicholas Hlobo is known for creating theatrical environments and sprawling sculptures made of leather, rubber tubes, ribbon, and more. His creations play on themes of gender, ethnicity, and the commingling of cultural dichotomies. Hlobo's first major project in Miami took place right here at Locust Projects. In this short film, the artist comments on his exhibition called Intete, Sketch for an Opera.
Nicholas Hlobo is a South African artist in his late 30s at this point, and he's really been instrumental in South African art history already in bringing indigenous languages into the conversation in contemporary art. I think Nicholas thinks of himself first and foremost as an international contemporary artist, but he's someone who's never been shy of using his heritage and his nationality in his work. Nicholas Hlobo is in Johannesburg. After visiting Miami for the show and designing it and working on the floor plan and the sculptures, he suffered a minor stroke, which meant he was not able to travel to actually be here. They expect full recovery. It was relatively minor. He's in good spirits, and he's been with us over Skype and over the phone. Thankfully, I've installed shows with him for 8 years or so. Placement of works is something we rarely disagree about. It's quite an intuitive process. So he trusted me to come and set up. Also, he'd made the floor plan. The show was done for all intents and purposes.
The title of the show is Intete, a sketch for an opera. The idea was around creating an installation that gave some ideas around performance with greater reference to operatic performances. Hence we had Papa Logo singing there. But it is like a sketch for the opera because it is not an opera per se.
Intete means locust. There's a historical locust plague in South Africa in 1896, which had quite severe economic but also political implications. And that's the story that Nicholas has used to end up with his sketch. When one walks into the show, the first thing one sees is a dressing room, quite a traditional sort of Hollywood dressing room, or maybe the backstage of a drag cabaret. And opposite that, there's a stage, which immediately gives one the idea that something's going on that's performative. Then the title of the show, Intete, a sketch for an opera, is the second thing that gives away that there's something going on that pushes into the performing arts but isn't quite performing arts. So thinking of the different components of an opera, having already decided on the dressing room, the stage, the costumes, the next thing that came to mind for Nicholas was the super titles. Nicholas likes messing with language, and he decided to use the super titles exactly the opposite way, use them the wrong way around. So when you try to follow the story that's going on and you're looking for your crutch or the super titles, you see text that is in a completely foreign idiom, which is Xhosa, again, his mother tongue.
The idea was that the super titles have to make some reference to how operas tend to be presented.
And it might be interesting to give away what the super titles are actually about in this case. They're texts from the Old Testament about locust plagues, matching the actual historical narrative of the show. So the figures on the stage are sculptures that Nicholas has referred to in the past as izithunzi, which are shadows or ghosts from traditional Xhosa mythology. Very spectral presences that certainly have a human form. They often have heads. They're roughly the same size as human beings, but there's something off.
Izithunzi looks at traditions that have disappeared, things that have gone, that are no longer in existence. that people hold in memory or in history.
And after a while, when people look at them, they tend to get nicknames, the dinosaur, the witch, or the chief, which really is perfect for the show because it allows one to project any number of scenes from the opera onto these creatures on stage. When Nicholas Hlobo first started making sculptures out of rubber, he needed to find a way to merge the different patches of rubber. And he very quickly decided to stitch them together using ribbon. Initially pink ribbon, and he started using more colors over the years.
The idea is that what I enjoy about the stitch is how it sort of overlaps. And it's a simple stitch, it's not very complicated, and yet it binds things together in a very efficient way.
When Locust invited Nicholas, one of the things they really put emphasis on in their letter of invitation was that it has to be a project that engages Miami and uses Miami as a site of production. Nicholas decided he wanted to work with the Haitian band and explore the sort of, also the historical connections between Haiti and Africa and sort of mythological stories. As soon as Nicholas saw Papa Loco, which is the band that will be jamming tonight, he felt there was an instant connection. He felt these people will be able to be crazy enough, because that's really what it has to be about it. The band itself has to step outside their comfort zone to create a new piece.
Papa Loco Tegenis, and I am the leader of Papa Loco and Loai Mystic. I'm the creator of the band. We are based in Miami since 1989, and we play the sound that we call voodoo pop. When they explained to me the project, and I realized the project is about the same thing that's been happening in Haiti, so I connected with the project, and that's why I'm here, so I love it.
When it was time for the second rehearsal, we managed to Skype Nicholas in and be part of the process. Nicholas immediately loved what they had done with it. He also had very specific instructions. So I was carrying the laptop at this point, and he said, please go to the drummer, I want to speak to the drummer. So I carried the laptop to the drummer, and he said, it needs to speed up a little bit, more like ra-ta-ta, ra-ta-ta-ta-ta, going instrument by instrument, giving very specific instructions.
When they were rehearsing, I had to make sounds and hum and tell them how the guitar should go. Things like the guitar needed to go mad, you need to go wow, 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 things like that. So basically it was almost like directing your own show. I was the artistic director from afar. Maybe it was for a good reason that I could not be there, that I had to have a stroke. Somehow that allowed me to find other ways of getting to be part of an activity without being there.
If anything, I think it's made him, it's a bit of a cliche, but it's made him stronger. He's definitely come out with very big plans for the next year or two.
For details on this and other events at Locust Projects, log on to locustprojects.org.
I love it when magical mistakes occur in a painting.
The inspiration comes from just about everything that I experience in my day-to-day.
Finally tonight, this story takes us to the southern end of the Florida Keys in Key West, where artist Mara Neymanis uses invented apparatuses to create unique aerial plays. Incorporating the circus arts with traditional theater, Neymanis pushes the boundaries of physical space to explore deeply personal stories. We met up with the artist during her residency at the studios of Key West, where she performed her latest play, Naomi's Flight.
Basically, I create theater with aerial elements, and I have training in circus and physical theater, mask performance, mime, but I also use sculptures. Instead of apparatus, I use invented objects created by a guy named Tim Schofield who works with me. And I use the sculptures almost as a playwright. So I fit text to the sculpture and sculpture to the text. And the sculpture sometimes comes forward and the character is on it. Or sometimes the sculpture goes completely away so that the character comes forward. And that time and memory and space and environment is all a wonderful thing that comes forward in this work that I've grabbed onto. And I just don't think that, I think that that probably is unique to me.
Take a rest.
I had a very serious health incident. I had a brain tumor. After the brain tumor, I had a dream about trapezes. After that, I studied at the San Francisco School of Circus School, and they found that I was turning tricks into story, because to me the trapeze was like a mask. It was like a vehicle through which you could express something through. And I got kicked out of circus school because they said, you have to do tricks, you have to do tricks. And I said, I'm not interested, it's boring. So then I was turned on by a teacher of mine, Amy Hancock, to study with a woman named Terry Sengraf, who was teaching out of Oakland. And she was a huge, enormous influence on me, both as a spiritual advisor, a woman, an artist. And she gave me permission. One day she said to me, you have to do this. This is yours to do, and you should call it aerial theater. And that's how it began. It's funny how permission sometimes is very helpful for artists.
What can I tell you? Your mother and I were very much in love.
This is about my parents and my mother, who has been diagnosed with Alzheimer's, which is somewhat dubious to me, but for sure she has dementia. And for the past 6 years, she has been declining. And so these are stories that I've just been listening to.
I certainly hope I will drive again next year.
There are certain things that I just wrote down because they were so stage-worthy. Really, some of it really funny, some of it very touching. And because I write plays, I just, you have an ear for, wow, that pops. And so I started writing, and it was all just recall.
Mr. Strasberg had to keep on telling her because she was nearly falling apart.
And Naomi's flight happened because I was so frustrated with the healthcare system in this country. I looked at my parents, I looked at other people who were having exactly the same situation as I was. No structure, no anchor. And it's important when you do what I do that it speaks to more people than one. So that's my process.
Fresh flowers on her grave.
It's new to Florida. It's never been done here. Aerial work is not really done much. I'm interested in the character. I'm interested in character coming forward and how it inhabits a landscape, and in this case, a vertical landscape. And that metaphor plays very, very strongly in my work, and I actually at this point don't go looking for it, it finds me. So there's the apparatus turns, and so we have almost like a turning of a page of time that happens on this, which I call the gate. The trap hoop is a small world, a world that's off the ground that Naomi inhabits, and Alzheimer's is upside down. She is upside down for real. And so I can literally show her that way. She is sideways. I can literally show her that way.
I was the youngest one, and she liked me best.
To learn more about Neymanis' work, log on to inflighttheater.com. And for more events at the studios of Key West, visit tskw.org. But don't forget to visit fla-keys.com for the ultimate in Florida Keys arts and culture. That's our show this week, but if you're still craving creativity, log on to wpbt2.org/artloft to view past episodes, web-exclusive videos, and upcoming events. And don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and now Instagram at ArtLoftSFL. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Kaylin James, reminding you to stay creative. Bye. Art North. Visit mochanomi.org. That's hard to say. Contemporary Art North. Art North. Here we go. You like my little look there? I should have been like, whoop, whoop, whoop. These things are super cool. Oh my God, that's so funny. Okay. Hi. Not the giggles at the end. Okay, I can do this.
Funding for Art Loft was made possible by the John S. and James L. Knight Foundation, Newman's Own, giving all profit to charity and pursuing the common good for over 30 years, and
in the Florida Keys and Key West, every night is a spectacular show. And every day is another masterpiece.
Transform ordinary objects into biographical sculptures that comment on culture, history, and personal drama. We begin with a short film on acclaimed British artist Tracey Emin, who captivates viewers with neon drawings. In her first North American solo exhibition, named Angel Without You, Emin showcases more than 60 works from the past 2 decades. Get ready for the glow.
People don't understand the complication of neon. When you look at neons that are really badly made, you can see the bends, you can see the folds, you can see the joins, which is really ugly. And that's just like a commercial pub sign. I don't make commercial pub.
Foundation. Newman's Own, giving all profit to charity and pursuing the common good for over 30 years. And
in the Florida Keys and Key West, every night is a spectacular show. And every day is another masterpiece.
Hi, I'm Kaylin James, and from Locust Projects in Miami, welcome to Art Loft. Thanks so much for joining us. Tonight, artists In this edition of Art Loft, an artist reflects on a career and love affair with poetry and light.
This is all from my head. This is my life and what I experience.
Locusts inspire commentary on cultural identity.
There's a historical locust plague in South Africa in 1896, which had quite severe economic but also political implications.
An artist's private drama takes flight.
This is about my parents and my mother, who has been diagnosed with Alzheimer's.
It's all ahead on this edition of Art Loft.
Funding for Art Loft was made possible by the John S. and James L. Knight.
Science, that's why my neons look so special. Hello, I'm Tracey Emin. I'm an artist. I'm from London. We're standing in Miami Mocha. This is my first solo exhibition in America, and it's called Angel Without You. It's my only show of all my neons, and it will probably never ever happen again in a lifetime. When you come in here and you see the 67 neons spanning over nearly 20 years, you can see there is a different quality and a different emotional tone of events throughout the whole room. It isn't all the same. This is all from my head. This is my life and what I experience. grew up in Margate that had a golden mile that was full of neon and lights. You only have neon usually in bars, casinos, brothels, whatever, in places where you need to feel good. And that's because the argon, neon and argon gas, makes human beings feel good. And the electric signal is almost like a heartbeat or a pulse. And that's why you have it in places that want you to spend money, because they want you to feel good. So I'm not saying I want people to come for this